Good morning. Thank you very much, Dr. Philbin, for presenting me with the Society's prestigious Engineer Manager of the Year Award. I am very pleased to express my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to ASEM for their consideration and acknowledgement. As special as this moment is to me, I cannot take all of the credit for the events that have brought me here today. I would be extremely remiss if I did not give a special thanks to MS&T for nominating me for this award. MS&T has been a very special place for me for nearly 5 decades, from earning my degree to establishing lasting relationships there throughout the years. And a very special thank you to my friend Dr. Susie Long, the Dean of the Engineering School of Management, and to Jim Schreiner, who works with Susie and served with me in the military. Thank you both for believing in me and submitting my nomination. Finally, thank you to the members of MS&T's Academy of Engineering Management, an organization where much of this started, for their friendship and overwhelming support to our academy and students. So it is with a combination of great humility and pride that I am before you today to accept this award and to briefly share some thoughts with you. When I first learned that I would be the recipient of this award and that the theme of this year's conference was that of leading organizations in uncertain time, I thought to myself, wow, how timely. I'm not sure that any of us could have anticipated the events of 2020 or how they have impacted our lives. I know I couldn't have, but to paraphrase Ralph Waldo Emerson, life is a journey and not a destination. Each passing day can bring twists and turns and ups and downs, and with the help of great leadership, those unexpected obstacles have the ability to be turned into opportunities. A true leader helps us navigate and prepare for all of those unknowns. My life journey thus far has been enriched and fulfilled through my relationship with my family, with mentors, colleagues, and friends who have encouraged and supported me and guided me along the way. It is said that no man is an island, and that has never been more true than it is today. Not one of us, regardless of some would have you to believe, are successful without the support and the aid of those around us. We encounter people along our paths who open doors for us, oftentimes doors that we didn't even realize were there. Back in 1971, this was before many of you were born, I bet, I had just finished 2 long and difficult tours in Vietnam and was weighing my options. Leave the military altogether or accept the military's offer to attend graduate school. I will be honest, at that point I was war weary and not at all excited at the prospect of devoting 4 more years to the military. But I was intrigued by this new engineering management course. So on the advice of my leadership, I called the department head, Dr. Bernard Sachet, to learn more about it. That call changed the entire trajectory of my life. Bernie highlighted for me the importance of human skills to supplement technical skills, emphasizing that this new concept of engineering management was a holistic approach to leadership. Within 30 minutes, I had decided to stay in the Army and apply for my acceptance to UMR's graduate program. 49 years later, I'm still amazed at where this journey continues to take me. I will not recite my professional life experience that has transpired over the past 49 years, but I will say with every degree of certainty that absent the conversation with Dr. Sachet, my life experience in all likelihood would have been vastly different. Now let's flash forward to today. We are all now facing unprecedented times with great changes, uncertainty, and never before seen challenges. We face social and political unrest, potential economic depression, global and domestic terrorism, natural disasters, and now, as if we didn't have enough already, we throw in a pandemic that has turned out to be worse than anything that we've seen in our lifetime. It is often easy to be overwhelmed with the sheer magnitude of all of these issues. But at the core, it all comes down to leadership to help guide us through these challenges. As Dr. Francis Austin noted in a blog post for ASEM earlier this year, and I'll quote, "In such times, employees need to have belief in their leadership, to invoke the trust needed to accept that the changes being made are necessary." That's very well said. As engineering managers, you are in a unique position to lead and shape these changes, guiding teams to adapt, sustain, and thrive as everything we once considered normal is constantly changing around us. A short time ago, Parade magazine published an article entitled, "Could You Be a Leader?" The position of the author was that anyone can be a leader. That is not about who is smarter or tougher, but about qualities supposedly inherent in all of us: empathy, integrity, emotional intelligence. The argument is that leaders are made, not born, as was famously stated by legendary football coach Vince Lombardi, who believed that anyone could be a leader with enough hard work. Now, one may agree or disagree with these premises, and I'm sure that there could be some spirited debate about the topic. Some of the best leaders throughout history were those who did not choose leadership, but rather had it thrust upon them. They were able to adapt and to rise to the challenge. But the article came up a bit short when it came to delving into those intrinsic qualities of effective leaders: values, ethics, and a willingness and desire to bring out the best in others. Most senior leader seminars and schools and conferences that I've attended over my career had at least one session about values, ethics, and leadership. I'm sure that many, if not all of you, could say the same. We hear politicians and business executives talk about the importance of strong leadership. And we know that they have all been exposed to significant hours of ethics and value-based leadership training. More importantly, they have all had ample opportunities to put theory to practice. Why, then, are we seeing so many glaring examples of failed leadership playing out on a global scale every day? What happens to those ethical foundations? We've recently seen senior executives and elected or appointed government officials who evoke their Fifth Amendment rights when called before Congress. In case anyone has forgotten, the Fifth Amendment protects from self-incrimination. So the very invocation of it is telling. We have seen them plead guilty to illegal activities. We've seen them resign their positions in disgrace. And we've seen them sell out their peers and colleagues in last-ditch efforts at self-preservation. As a recent Washington Post article stated, the executive suite goes sour. I would argue that these examples counter the theory that everyone can be a leader with the right training and enough work. When those placed in positions of authority lack the ethics and value system to be effective leader, The system must be flawed to have not filtered them out before they reach such heights. It could be argued that sometimes the pressure of a situation causes the leader to revert to behavior from before they hone their leadership skills. It may be said that many confuse power and aggression with leadership. We all know the classic example of the coaches who push their players to drive on no matter what. And if you commit a foul on the way, it's okay as long as the referee didn't see it. But what happens when the referee does see it? When each day brings new headlines about falling stock prices, political dirty tricks, lies from leaderships that are easily disproven, there are three types of leaders who emerge. One, those who feel overwhelmed by such negativity that they just give up and ignore it. These leaders are setting themselves and their teams up for failure, and it's critical that they reach out for help. Remember what I said earlier, no man is an island. The second type, those who see these examples and take it as their cue to see what they themselves can get away with. This creates the snowball effect of compounding unethical actions with the further negative of attempting to cover it up. And then there are those who see opportunities for improvement. This is who I challenge all of you to be. I challenge you to take these obstacles and turn them into lessons. Find ways to correct the course. Find creative ways to keep things from going off course in the first place. Learn from the mistakes of others. But how to do this? Some say that we need to redouble educational efforts to more aggressively train upcoming leaders. Many argue that starting ethics and value-based training early in the educational career helps to more permanently instill these concepts. But nearly all agree that we need to closely examine leadership failures, dissect them piece by piece, to conduct a true postmortem or after-action review to more effectively learn from these examples. Most organizations today have some sort of written value statements, a philosophy or policy, which they tout in their handbooks, in all of their marketing materials, and on their websites. I will bet that most of you have such a policy within your own organization. But do you know what it actually says? When was the last time anyone in the company sat down to review what value statement and discuss if it's a reality? Most companies have every employee sign off on a document stating that they have read and agrees with this value statement. But if we are honest, how much time is actually spent with employees to ensure that they truly understand it and have bought into the concept? If the value statement is treated as nothing more than just another document to sign, how can employees be expected to uphold that system? We need to not only ensure that we have developed a standard set of organizational values, but we must also ensure that we think hard about how we expect them to be instilled and followed. Leaders must give their organization values more than just lip service. They have to walk the walk. Even before an employee is brought into the organization during the recruiting process, the company's values must be highlighted and must be the top priority. It's easy to find people with the right education, possibly even the right experience, but people with strong ethics and values are a little tougher to come by. new employee orientation must focus on the company's values. Regular training and employee engagements are critical to ensure that the value of the organization are always front and center and that ethics is never secondary. But true values, true leaders set the tone. They create the culture. It is easy to succumb to temptation, especially when pressure is high. A salesperson may be tempted to inflate sales statistics to try to secure his standings with the supervisor. An employee may be tempted to try to conceal mistakes, possibly out of fear for their job or to avoid embarrassment. But an engaged leader will create an environment in which employees feel safe so that they can admit mistakes and seek help when needed without fear of retribution. Strong leaders fight the temptation that often comes with power. Those with a leader's heart do not thirst for power. They understand and accept the burden and the responsibility that comes with it. They know that they are setting the example and must inspire others to help achieve the organization's vision. In closing, I want to instill in all of you the sense that while today's challenges are daunting, they are not insurmountable. In all of our history, we have overcome terrorist attacks, pandemics, droughts, economic and civil unrest, and more, thanks to strong, determined, ethical leadership. Our great social experiment that is the United States of America have withstood dark times in the past, and we will survive those new challenges as we move ahead. Thank you very much for your attention, for inviting me for the award.